Welcome to another episode of the Granite List Live. I'm Sally Pace, and we are thrilled to be in partnership with SIIA at Engage 2022. This has been an amazing conference, and I'm joined today by Mary Kay Puckett. Mary Kay, do you mind telling us who you are and what you do?
Well, absolutely. So I'm Mary Kay Puckett, and I am the Vice President of Employee Benefits with Alliant Insurance Services, located in Helena. We are part of the Seattle branch of Alliant.
Is that Helena, Montana, not Arkansas, like my neck of the woods?
Yes.
That's right. Well, we are thrilled to have you, and you're going to bring such a unique perspective because there's been a lot of ideas shared at the conference, lots of thoughts going around. But really, at the end of the day, you as the consultant community, you're the ones who are tasked with bringing all these great ideas into the employer market. So I'd like to know from you, what was some of the top takeaways you've had?
So far, one of the nice sessions I attended was regarding the TPA broker relationship, and I appreciate it because they had TPAs, they had stop loss carriers, they had brokers, and they really discussed what are some of the roadblocks, what are some of the issues, and how can you improve the communication. And really what I heard from that and what I believe is in complete transparency. You don't have to get along as a broker consultant. You don't have to get along every minute of the day with the TPA. In fact, if there's friction, that's healthier because we represent the clients, and we have to make sure that it is always within the client's best interest, whatever the decisions are. But it's also important to have those TPA partners, those vendor partners, and to be honest with them about what your clients need and what they expect from that service they're purchasing.
Never have I ever heard of that. The friction, that makes so much sense. That's really smart. And how long have you been involved with SIIA?
Gosh, for about 15 years. I've been in the benefit arena for 35. The first 20 I worked for a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan and then an independent consulting agency. And so 15 years ago, I was introduced to SIIA.
And you still keep coming back for more?
Every year.
So what have been some of the highlights? Have you enjoyed getting involved, gotten to serve on any committees, help with any of the sessions?
I haven't helped with any of the sessions, but what I appreciate about SIIA is you're always looking forward. The folks at SIIA are always looking forward and what is happening within the industry and the marketplace. They're very involved in the political arena and pushing legislation that will help promote self-funding and self-funded business. When the ACA was passed, it was really a good opportunity for our industry to look to self-funding as the solution, so employers could really have a lot more control over their health plan and their costs, and pick those quick solutions that really are best for them instead of just buying a complete package.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about you specifically in Alliant. I'd love to know, and can you share with our audience some success stories that you've had over the past couple of years? We know it's been a crazy ride, and a lot has changed. Like you said, there are a lot of regulations and new rules coming out. So share some successes that y'all have experienced.
And this probably relates back to SIIA as well, because you bring so many vendor solutions together. But at Alliant, there's incredible resources, and one of them is data analytics. And so I really believe that and nothing's actionable unless you see the data and you see what's happening within your own health plan. And so we have this amazing analytic platform that we can identify the risk and then find that right solution for a particular group. You may have a lot of prevalence of diabetes in your population, but it doesn't mean that you have to put a diabetic solution in if those people are being managed, and you only understand if they're managed through the data. So these are some kind of takeaways I've been able to capture from others at SIIA meetings as well.
And does the analytics platform have a name? Like if an employer was curious about it?
So it's branded Alliant Analytics.
Okay, perfect. I know you don't have a crystal ball, and I know we're all here to learn lots of great things. But what are you predicting things will look like in the next year or two? What are you preparing your clients for?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, especially with COVID, that threw everything kind of into a storm. Um, I just think there's going to be so much more emphasis on controlling the high dollar drug costs. Um, all of us within the healthcare industry are responsible for creating what I call as a mess. Um, Everybody has their own interest in it, but I don't know too many pieces of it that they sit back and think, how can I be part of that change? And so you have brokers and consultants, you have providers, you have, including hospitals, you have TPAs, you have those vendor solutions. I think one of the best things that's happened is the focus on transparency. So you can peel back the onion and see what is contributing to this cost and how we can control that cost. And if an employer has everything in front of them as far as transparency, they'll know exactly what they're spending and what's working and what's not. So if I had a crystal ball, if I had a wish in a crystal ball,
I love
it
it.
would be to push for more transparency in healthcare.
I'm going to ask a little bit about the groups that you consult as well. And I know we've heard from others throughout the show that there has been a trend, they're seeing a trend in smaller groups seeking self-funding. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, it used to be groups over 200, 250 employee lives, they would really look more to a self-funding solution. But now you see even employers maybe 75 to 150. And the reason being is because they too want control over their health plan and they want different solutions. So if you stay fully insured, you're only the solutions are only available at a minimum. But if you look to self-funding, you can choose your TPA partner, you can choose your PBM, pharmacy benefit manager partner, and so again, you have more flexibility and you have more control over what you're spending your dollars on. So I do look to see more and more groups looking to that solution, and some of them take the baby step and they go maybe to a level funded solution, and then they jump into, and we call it partially self-funded because there's only one employer that I work with, Tom Quirk, the consultant out of California, with Alliant and myself work on the state of Montana. They're completely self-funded, which means they have no stop loss. But most groups are partially self-funded because they have that reinsurance level, and that's the key. Any group size can be self-funded. You just have to make sure you have the right reinsurance levels.
Well, and folks, that was spoken to you by an expert. So, Mary Kay, thank you so much for being here. I know all of our voices are getting tired. You especially have been a trooper during this entire event. So thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you for being on the Granite List Live. Thank you all for listening to this episode.